share a story of either a friend or a friend of a friend or your own story about something that went wrong. Now, I almost feel like you started with what went wrong because now you built a whole company off of what went wrong.
Yeah, I built a whole company off of what went wrong.
Exactly. So, okay, so then typically, if you've already kind of given us a little juice on a catastrophe, then I'm going to ask you a question
Sure.
around a couche and then, or couches, and then you'll answer that. Okay, so here we go. So, would you say, so your mother is still with you, yes?
Yeah, both parents are alive.
Fantastic. So, that's amazing. And are you close to your mom?
We talk. We talk
Okay,
every.
you guys
I,
talk.
yes, I'm close to my
Okay,
mom.
very good. Yeah, I mean, some people are like, I don't know about that lady. And then some people are like, oh, yeah, I talk to her every day.
This is what I'll say, and this is part of recovery. I
Yes.
don't do holidays.
Okay. And that's fair
I don't do
because,
Thanksgiving, Christmas, and that's a newer thing for my
yeah,
mental health.
right.
But I do talk to my mother at least twice a week.
No, that's lovely. That's
Sometimes
lovely.
I have all her passwords.
Mm,
No, but I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mother.
sure.
And so I honor her, and I also really appreciate what it's like to be a woman, and for the boomers, what it was like to be. My mother was a very alternative type of woman, and that wasn't easy
Hmm.
in those days. She couldn't
Not
help
at
but be
all.
herself. So when they were wearing bouffants in her high school, she had like a bob and a black turtleneck,
Right.
you know,
And then loved a black man.
and loved the black.
So
That alone, they had shit thrown at them on their window at their home, like that. That
that
was,
alone, right.
that's been going on forever, ever.
Forever, but that alone just screams how brave and courageous she was to just follow her own heart. All right, so I asked that because I have a question about what you can and can't talk to your mother about. So, what is one thing? Obviously, your mother probably knows what you're doing now with having pussy, smoke weed, all the things. What is one? She's probably like, "That's my daughter. She's doing great."
No, no pussy smoke weed. We put cannabis in
In
no,
the that's right. Okay,
no.
very good. See, now I messed it up. Okay, we're not smoking
No,
the
no
weed,
smoke
people.
out of the vagina. No, no,
No,
no.
no, no, no.
We
We
want
are
moist, moist vaginas.
we're ingesting it.
Juicy,
We're just we're
juicy.
yes.
I don't have a good answer for you because I can tell my mom anything.
Okay, so can you talk about orgasms with your mother?
Sure.
Has your mother given you advice around orgasms?
Um, no, I don't think
Okay.
so. But I
Okay.
would say my mother has given me, like, I was raised like, don't wear underwear when you're sleeping because your chi chi needs to breathe.
Chi Chi, is that what you called it when you were
I
growing
mean,
up?
yeah, maybe, but
Ah!
the vagina needs to breathe. You know,
Right. I love Chi Chi though.
yeah. I mean, in the vagina monologues, there's this great piece where they're like they just and it's interwoven throughout the whole play where they talk about all the different names for the.
Yes.
It's great.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even know they did that because I know with my co-founder, we play this game whenever we used to do live events and it was called What Do You Call It? So of course we said, well, we call it the couche. What do you call it? And we would go around the room handing the microphone and the names that you, from everything from Rose to Pocketbook to Mr. Whiskers. I was like, but why is it a man? Anyway, so it was
Your name comes.
enlightening. Mr. Whiskers. I'm like, why is it a man? It could be Miss Whiskers. No, I like Miss Whiskers better. And the worst one that we ever heard, and I say worst because you'll understand why I'm saying worst, is one girl took the mic and she says, "Well, my mother always used to always call it the shame," and
Oh,
I was devastated for this young lady. I
oh,
know my heart dropped, and usually I can keep a party going and do all the things and crack a joke, and it just was like the room got silent.
yeah.
And in my head and my heart, I was like, it took on not only one shame, but like double shame.
Shame, shame.
Shame, shame. No, no balloons right now. I'm getting balloons, not wrong AI. And I held this woman, just I hugged her and I said, we're not gonna call it that anymore. You know what I mean? And I don't know what trauma and what shame, like you said, guilt and shame. I don't know what shame was associated with her history, her mother's history. You don't know. But I
Yeah,
said, we're going to call it the couche. And I said, and we're going to help you sort of celebrate yourself and everything around the couche.
Yeah.
And she wasn't emotional about it, but I'm sure she has buried something so deep within her and was just honest. And she was like, that's the name.
Generational stuff. It probably came from grandma and great grandma, and you know, um, these stories.
I
And
know.
the thing is, I think secrets kill us. Now,
Oh,
and just like kind of closing on what you tell your mom and what you don't tell your mom.
yeah.
This phase, what I share with my mom is what I think will make her feel good about herself, what will make her laugh. I need to be careful. I need to watch myself of what stresses her out because
Yeah.
memory is not as elastin and it's things stress her out. Um, and so it's almost like and also just watching these ages and stages and
Hmm.
how can we not have the continuum of intergenerational trauma? How can we bring in more love? How can we shift the paradigm? You know,
Right.
you know,
Yeah, and I think that's appropriate because we have parents that still have more years behind them than they do in front of them, the last thing you want to do is add to any of the traumas that they didn't resolve. Because most of our parents don't resolve them. For us who are starting to do the work, you find that there's a generation before us that would never even acknowledge that there was work to be done.
right.
And so the last thing you ever want to do is add a little bit more trauma to that plate. And so I do the same thing. My mom and I love her to pieces. She texts me, or I tell her that I love her little, memes that she sends me. I don't read them, but I know she's alive when you know what I'm saying? Like that's my way of making sure she's okay. And I put my little heart, and some days I forget the heart, and she's like, "Where are you?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, I forgot the heart." But I'm just trying to create joy in this phase of her life now because that's what she deserves.